Alrighty, folks, welcome to today's live stream with myself, Nicole Sauce, and Dawn Gorham. This is our homegrown cooking live stream, and you'll notice that I'm solo right now. That's because I made a mistake. I sent her the wrong link to join us, and she's rebooting everything to be able to join us on StreamYard today and then go out to multiple channels. I don't know if she'll be able to add her channels as well, so we'll see. But today we're going to tackle, because we've been wanting to do more content on nose to tail cooking for a cow. We're starting with a cow. And a lot of times what happens when people get a whole cow is they just put off cooking the things they don't know how to cook. And one of the things that a lot of people don't know how to cook is a tongue. So today we're going to cook a cow's tongue together, and we coordinated in advance to get this done. And she started her cow's tongue this morning. I'm going to show you, how to get started with what she did this morning and then go from there. And she'll be on in a second. In fact, I see her now. So I'm going to bring Dawn on, and we're going to be all discombobulated.
Figured it out.
Are we discombobulated?
I had to copy and paste the link into StreamYard on my app instead of just clicking on it in Discord and it taking me directly to it. It didn't want to work with my camera.
All right. So I started without you so we wouldn't lose our Facebook feed, and just told them what we're doing. And that it was my fault for sending you the wrong stupid link. What had happened?
My first time, so it couldn't tell you me.
Record only StreamYard thing going. In fact, if I don't do this other thing real quick, then I'm gonna have a really hard time getting the video for this. But I had a record only link to test my camera and my audio, because I've been trying to get ready for the webinar tonight with some new really cool technology.
Ooh.
And except it sounds fun, but there's always the like 90,000 updates you have to do and all that. So I took apart my studio to come out here, and then I have to put it back together over there. But it was like right before this, I'm like, I finally got it working. And now it's not going to be working again when I go in there. So
nice.
Then you started texting me. I'm like, yeah. So how's it going today? Busy on the homestead?
Yes, I just finished like 10 minutes ago getting ready for my workshop tomorrow. I had a ton of furniture in there. It was just all kind of in different places. And so I had to get all that cleared out, everything cleaned up. And then we're having a bridal shower the next weekend. So something all the time.
It's always something.
But I got it done.
Yeah. Okay, guys, on the live stream, let folks know we're live. We're going to be cooking a cow's tongue. Homegrown cooking was something I wanted to start. And then Dawn reached out to me. She's like, let's do this nose to tail thing. And then we recorded a bunch of video I have not edited. And then I was like, screw it. We'll do live streams, and I'll start posting those. And then we'll end with just the effing recipe. Are you doing it, or am I at this one?
You can do it. Mine's pretty simple.
Yeah, mine's pretty. I don't even know if we're following the same exact recipe, but we're making taco meat. And so it starts with this. This is a scratch. If you feel it, it's like scratchy. It's cow's tongue. And the recipe says rinse it and scrape all the slime off. Well, there's no slime on this one, which means the butcher did a good job.
Yeah,
was yours slimy?
No, I didn't have any slime on mine either. I washed it in cold water, and that was about it.
Did you have all this part here on yours?
Just a little bit, not a whole lot.
Yeah, so this is a lot of extra sort of, probably a few glands are in there, especially right here. And you usually trim this stuff off. So I'm going to try to trim it. I don't know. Let me see if it'll work. You don't necessarily have to, but
yeah, I left mine on.
You can leave it on. I'm going to actually move. So what we're doing, guys, is I'm going to start the process. And what we're doing, big picture, is cow tongue taco meat preparation, which we start by trimming the meat, if you're going to trim the meat. And then we also cut up onions, saute those with some spices, and then put the whole thing into braise for 4 to 6 hours. Or you can use a pressure cooker. Dawn took the pressure cooker out, but low and slow makes this very lean cut of meat work well, or the pressure cooker is really good at making tougher meat, potentially tougher meat, really, really like tender. And I'm forgetting my words today, Dawn. And so I'm going to actually trim this. I'm going to move the camera so you can see it, but I need to rinse my hands first because I've been touching a cow's tongue. So, hey, I like how your video looks there with that phone. That's not bad.
Oh, thanks. I'm going to adjust it just a hair.
Yeah. So now,
there we go.
Do this. So that right there is the cow's tongue. And I'm not using my usual, I'm just cutting around this area. You will optimize your meat usage if you don't do what I'm doing right here. But I'm just cutting all that off because I have some livestock guardian dogs. And you can see, you don't have to cut this off. You can see all the meat there that's still there. There's some glandy things in here that I just don't love. So I'm going to put that aside. I'll make bone broth with this. And then I'm going to take my tongue and put it to the side here out of the way. And then I'm going to rinse my hands again. It's all about rinsing the hands 90,000 times when you're in the kitchen, right?
Right.
So have you ever cooked a tongue before, Dawn?
Nope.
No?
Nope. I've had several that I ended up giving to dogs because I didn't know what to do with it. So doing this was good for me as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to cut up an onion next. Am I worried about the fact that I've got blood on my onion? Not really, because I'm going to cook this onion. It's going to cook as long as the cow's tongue. So other people would get really mad because I did that. Wait, cow tongue taco meat? Literally just picked up my half steer and was looking at how to cook the tongue. Yeah, tacos de lengua, I think is how they say it. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish, but it is a delicious meat to make tacos with. And I was originally going to do another recipe that's more of a Polish/German origin. But when she said she was doing tacos and she brought up the fact that we were going to have to go live 7 times to follow the whole trail of the thing, I was like, actually, it works that she's pre-cooking hers and can do the finished part of this. Now, you've never cooked a tongue, though, so you're like taking a huge risk by showing us that, right?
Absolutely. I have no idea what's inside of that Instapot. Well, it's going to be a surprise to me as well.
Okay. Well, so again with the rinsing of the hands, we're going to go over to the stove now and start the stove. And then I'm touching the camera. Nope, that's my head. Can you see my stove?
Barely.
Yeah.
Little more around.
I can come
other way.
A little closer. There it is. So you're just going to have to go with me on this, guys. See, one day I will have the switch set up that I was messing with today for the webinar tonight. And what this is tallow. You know what tallow's from? The same cow. And I'm going to melt that to saute these onions. Is that what you did for yours first?
No, I just opened a can of beef broth that I had canned.
Yeah.
Quartered my onion and threw it in there with it into the Instapot.
Oh, okay. So what I'm going to saute the onions up. I'm going to then put, in this pot, I already have bone broth. It's a bone broth concentrate that I made. And then I will put salt with it and braise it slowly. I'm going to add a little bit of dried chili, like hot pepper chili, a little cumin, a little garlic powder. That's what I'm doing. So what did you do for the Instapot?
I made a rub with salt, pepper, cumin, see what else, some smoked paprika, chili powder. And then I just rubbed that. I put a little bit of olive oil on it so that it would stick. And I just rubbed it really good like I would do a butt.
Yeah.
And then threw it in there. And then I put a couple of bay leaves in there too.
I like your method better. I'm going to saute those onions and I'm going to make a rub. We'll catch up with each other. We did lots of pre-planning on this, guys.
It's more fun when you don't plan. It's more spontaneous.
Well, I mean, that's how I cook most of the time. What about you?
I know, that's kind of what I did too. I was like, okay, what have I got?
Yeah.
I went down to the basement. I was looking, do I have any bone broth left? If not, I've got some beef bouillon cubes that I could make something. So
Gosh,
yeah, it's just kind of what I had.
Bone broth here. It's nuts. Okay, did you take the skin off your tongue before you cooked it or no?
No.
Okay, good. It's way easier to take off when it's been cooked than when it hasn't been cooked. So, just gonna get these onions going. And then I will do the rub. I totally copied Dawn because this is why when you cook with people, different things happen, right? So I've got that. It's garlic powder, cumin, hot pepper, and I'm just gonna coat this in it then. And it's got salt, I think. Yeah, I put salt in there. Why is Nicole sauce so discombobulated today, Dawn?
Because there's 1,000,001 things going on.
What's going on?
You've got the webinar to get ready for.
Webinars tonight. What else?
For you?
Huh?
For you or for me?
For all of us.
We're getting ready for Self-Reliance Festival, and that's every day that we work on that. So
yeah, well, and early bird prices go up next week.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasted a lot of spice, but it's all rubbed. It's just sit there. Yeah, that happened, and then I've been getting the new studio set up with a really cool switch where I can go from camera to camera to camera.
Oh, cool.
And I've been fighting with this for like a year.
Yeah.
And I had it working November 2022. It is now, what is it, July 24. And it hasn't worked since November 22. And I was like, I am going to figure this out today. And I finally, I got on the phone with Rebecca, who does the digital passes.
Our AV stuff, yeah.
She helped me figure out what I was trying to do was go from a computer camera to the switch, back to the computer, and the thing doesn't do that. I need to go get camera straight into the switch, and then another feed from the other second computer, so that I can show a video on the computer and show my studio, right? That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, wow.
So then I had Tactical unearthed an ancient camera from the beginning of time, and we'll plug that in, and the audio will go through the camera audio, built-in audio. So my mission this afternoon is figure out if I can hook my mic up to that camera, and if not, I will have a manual feed. But I got that camera working, which Red Flyer Media is here. She doesn't even know I got that going. And then I'll finally have things set up that way, and then eventually that's going to migrate out to the kitchen studio.
Cool.
So that I have cameras hanging up here, and you can have I want an over the stove camera so you can see the saute I'm doing. Because right now I'm almost at the edge of the USB, right? I can go kind of like that and get a little bit closer, but that's as close as we can get.
Right.
And I have all the stuff staged over there that I need for this recipe. So, yeah. Anyway, it's getting better. So what's on your agenda? Why are you discombobulated today? Tell us what you got going on this weekend.
I've got my canning workshop tomorrow. We're canning tomatoes because I'm having tomato palooza right now. You know, last year I was tomato poor.
Yeah,
this year
I'm
swimming in tomatoes. Are you serious? That's all you got?
No, I got a bunch more.
Oh, good. Okay. So so we're gonna can tomatoes because that's what I got.
This is a black strawberry tomato, which is a new variety I'm doing.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really tasty. So you're canning a bunch of tomatoes. You're gonna pressure can them and water bath can them?
Maybe. I'm really just planning on pressure canning because for me, I like doing that better. It's faster.
Yeah.
For me, so I probably would just run them both through the pressure canner and just tell them what the rule of thumb is if they want to water bath them.
Yeah, you can water bath can them for 100 years if you want.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to do whole tomatoes, and then I'm going to do sauce because I've got some Bradleys that are ready, and then I've got Romas that are ready. So we'll do whole canned tomatoes and sauce tomorrow.
Nice.
So, and then we got our Homesteaders Alliance group on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's always a That's always a fun time.
You guys are making distilled alcohol.
Elderberry spirits.
Elderberry spirits. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun. Is that Jason coming out to do that?
Yes.
I make the best tinctures out of the things that he has shown me how to do.
Yeah, that's the reason I want to do it too. It's not, I mean, I hardly can drink anymore without having an awful headache. So
Yeah.
For me, it's just using it as a solvent.
Yeah. And a cleaning, I mean, it's a good cleaning supply too.
Well, yeah, he brought that up when he was here last time, that it's a great thing to clean your freeze dryer with.
Yeah.
He said that's what he does with that.
Yeah, I do that too. And then also, like my crock pot, when I cook with it, you know how it gets the drips on the outside? Rubbing alcohol or distilled liquor of a high proof, like 120, right, you can get out of a home still. That works really well. And that's just sugar, water, yeast, and you can totally make that into a good one. So
cool.
So Hogs, we are cooking a cow's tongue. And this is the cow's tongue. It's even a multicolor black and white spotted cow's tongue. What was yours looking like? Just one color or two?
Mine was just one color.
Yeah, this cow cost me $50 more than the other cow because it had the spots, and apparently that was more desirable.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so Pat, here's a good thing. Oh, check this out. You see that up there?
What you got?
That's a whole giant bunch of dill.
Yay!
Your house.
Oh, that's from my house? Oh,
awesome. Homestead kitchens should be. It's like this whole thing of dill.
Nice.
And Pack Rat just brought it up. So what are the growing conditions for your dill patch? Because I've always wanted a dill patch like that, and I don't have one.
Well, you know, right next to the cannery where the hill is caving in. Yeah. I just literally threw seeds out on that top of that hill right before it starts coming down. And it just took off. I didn't try to do anything, but I used mammoth dill was the variety that I used. Okay. When did you do that? For any of the smaller ones.
Did you do that just this year, or?
I threw some out. I think I threw some out in the spring, but I know I threw a bunch out at the end of fall last year because I still had a bunch of seed heads left. Okay. And so when I took down the seed heads, I just crumbled them in my hands and went all over that hill with it. And what is it? A north facing hill, south facing hill, east, west? Do you know? West is that way. It's facing east. Okay. East-ish. East. Does it get afternoon shade because the building's there? Nope. It gets no shade at all. No shade at all. East facing, so it gets morning sun. Lots of water coming off that hill. It's kind of going over the hill though, right? Yeah, yeah. That's that hill for me right over there. I get lots of water coming off that hill right on top of it too. Yeah. If we ever get rain. Did you have rain this week? Yes, thank goodness. My pasture, it's amazing how much 1 week of rain can make a huge difference. Like my pasture looked like the Sahara Desert last week. And now it's greened back up. Pretty as you please. So I hope it stays that way. Okay, guys, I just shoved the tongue into the skillet because the onions are done, and I'm letting it brown on the outside. Did you do that? I threw mine straight in the Instant Pot. Okay, I'm gonna just seal it up, get a little crust on there. My pot's as hot as it could be on this stove. Wish I had a commercial stove because it'd be hotter, but I think the only challenge with cooking a beef tongue is that it looks like a tongue while you're cooking it, don't you think? Yes, my family is protesting. Really? Oh yeah, that's what we're having for supper tonight, and T and Chase are both. It's under protest, so we'll see how well it's received when it's actually on the table. It's like eat what I cook or get out. Do what? You have a backup plan, or is it like eat what I cook or get out? Oh no, they're eating what I cook. or they're on their own. Bologna sandwiches or peanut butter.
Yeah. That's funny. They're like, we're not so sure we like this homesteading thing anymore. We got to eat beef tongue.
When the kids were growing up, they always jokingly referred to what I always said was, this ain't Denny's. You get what you get.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody else today who had been in jail before.
Yeah.
And he said, they always say this ain't the Hampton Inn.
Right.
Yeah.
Ain't no short order cook.
No. I mean, they could cook dinner too. They could have an alternative dinner.
I will give them credit. They will sit down at the table and try it. They have never not tried something. So
yeah. Have they ever been like, ew, this is awful?
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. It's like the first time I ate a chicken after I processed it. I had not done that before. And just that first one was like,
yeah.
I don't know if I can do this. But then it got easier. It was totally a mental thing.
Yeah. Oh, Angie's really glad we reminded him about the workshop, I think. The free webinar.
Awesome.
Okay, so I've browned the tongue, and now I'm taking it from here into a pot of bone broth. And I did it with gloves on, so I didn't have to rinse my hands in between. So I'm going to take them off like a good little hospital lady.
Look at you keeping gloves in your kitchen.
I totally keep gloves in my kitchen. So now it's over there in this pot. And I was going to do a smaller pot, so I didn't have to use as much bone broth, but that's the pot it fitted. I didn't realize the tongue was quite as big as it was.
Uh-oh, someone's here.
Is that your people are coming alarm?
Yes, that someone is coming up your driveway alarm.
Somebody's coming up the driveway. Okay, so I'll turn that heat off, and then my hot pads have disappeared off the face of it. So there were other people in my kitchen this morning. So I'm going to scrape the onion into the pot with the beef, and someday I'll have a hood installed all the way. Where the dill is hanging, there is a commercial hood going in, but it just hasn't.
Oh, nice.
So that's done. I'm going to put that to the side. And now, I don't know if I can hold it up. So you can see the tongue is in here. And there's bone broth concentrate in the bottom. It was my home canned bone broth. So I concentrate it before I can it. And then I add water to dilute it. And at this point, then this is what it looks like. So it's mostly covering the tongue. And if I reach in there and reposition the tongue, it's covered. So from here, what I'm going to do is cook it low simmer for 4 to 6 hours, which means we may eat sometime at midnight tonight. So I'm doing that, and then I want it tightly covered so I keep the heat in. And that is step one of this process. So that, as I said earlier, the low and slow is how we basically get the meat, which is it's like your tongue muscle is like your heart muscle in some ways, where it just like it works a lot. There's not a lot of fat on your tongue, even if you're fat. And so it's a very lean muscle. It's also very delicious because of that. The heart is also delicious, but we'll do that a different time.
I have that in the freezer too.
Yeah, I've got a big, I always put off the heart. So we should do the heart next.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm handing it over to you, Dawn. So what are you going to do?
So I have got, let me turn it around over here. See if I can get this to turn. I've got it over here in the Instapot, and I have not opened it yet. So it vented itself because it's been in here a while. Okay. Oh, it smells good.
I am cooking the other part of my tongue because I'm going to feed it to an animal, but I decided to cook it before I feed it.
All right, we'll go back over here. All right, so this is what it looks like if you can see. Oh, really? I just poured it all over the floor.
That's the awkward part of showing people how to cook in your kitchen is you do things like pour things all over your floor, which is not what you do in normal life. But
Right, exactly. So
that is what it is.
that's what it looks like in there.
Questions or things, you can put them in the comments.
All right. Can you still see me and hear me?
Kitchen with cabinets. I'm impressed.
All right, I'm gonna take this out. You can still see me and hear me, right? I
Yep.
think I hit a button. Okay. All right. Oh, it's hot. Hold on. All right, so there it is. Ooh, it's nice and tender. It's falling apart.
Yeah.
So my instructions say to peel this outer part of the tongue off. So I'm gonna see if I can. Oh yeah, it's gonna peel right off.
So now you don't have to look at what looks like a tongue when you cut it up.
See, there it goes.
See how different that meat looks like under there?
Oh man, that looks like barbecue.
Yep.
That's so cool.
You could have lied to your family and not even told them it was tongue.
Yep, I'm seeing that. It's got a little bit of a roast consistency around the outside of it, sort of, with that little bit of fat. But I mean, it is pulling right apart. It's hot. So let me hold it up. Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah, it just looks like a nice roast that's like a pot roast.
Mm-hmm. It almost looks like a barbecue butt to me.
Yeah. Except for it's a tongue, it's the other end.
Right?
Except for butt's really the shoulder, but that's a topic for a different day.
So I'm just going to shred it.
All right.
I'm going to use my fingers. I normally use one of those little shredder thingies, but...
Yeah.
Oh, I get a fork. Shred it with a fork.
I decided my counter needed bleaching after it touched cow juice. And then there's the towel I can't use anymore that had to go to the laundry.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, Alabama, so glad I'm watching. I've got the tongue in the freezer and haven't tried it yet. The guy I buy from said it pairs well with all kinds of spices. Yeah. I'll give you guys an alternative at the end based on ways I've done it in the past. So how's it shredding? Easy?
Oh my goodness, it's coming right apart. It did great. And I just put it in the Instapot on manual for 90 minutes. Yeah. And then I just left it on warm so that when I was done, I could come back to it. There's a couple little places in there. Do what?
So pressure cooked for 90 minutes.
Pressure cooked for 90 minutes, just on the manual setting.
You taste it yet?
No, I'm going to do that right now. That is so good.
I know.
So good.
Yeah. I love it when people are like, I don't want my tongue. And I'm like, I want your tongue. And I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean like your cow tongue.
I want your tongue.
I'm like, that's going to be the short that comes out of this.
I was going to say, that should be your next, hey, baby. I want your tongue. Oh, yeah. It's shredding just like roast. I mean, it is. I'm fascinated by this. This is so cool.
Are you finding any glands or weird fat in there?
No, I'm finding a couple of places that it doesn't really want to pull apart real well, that I'm assuming that that's attached to some sort of ligament, or not ligament.
Yeah, if you find like a ligament or something, you just don't put that in the tacos.
Yeah, so far I'm not really. It's just a little tougher, a little fat is what it was.
Yeah.
Fat.
Yeah.
So as soon as I get it all shredded, I'll take my phone off the stand.
And show us what it looks like.
Show you what it looks like in the bowl, like the finish. I think I may. I may add a little more taco seasoning to it before I actually put it into tacos.
Well, based on
it tastes more like a roast with
with a light Mexican sort of.
So there's the fat, like what you would have. I should have trimmed, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So I can just pull it off now.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Your dog wants that.
Hey, oh, Jake's not in here. Yeah, I'm normally like, hey, Jake, set everything on the floor.
Yep.
All right. I am absolutely, this is so cool. All right.
It was so easy too. That's the funny part. It's like,
it was so easy.
5 years and it was super easy.
All right. Can you see?
Oh, that looks good.
Like that is like shredded and super cool. So I will just add some taco seasoning and maybe make some soft tortillas and prepare as normal for tacos.
Done. So the recipe I have says to heat up some lard or fat of some sort and saute up more onions and garlic and fry it up in the frying pan before you serve it to heat it. So like you get it like that. You can throw it in the fridge and wait, and then that's how you heat it and serve it with your taco meat.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
All right.
So that's it, right?
It is all done. That is it. I'm going to put that aside. I have supper taken care of super early. It was super easy. Threw it in the Instapot, and now I can go on about my day and have something ready when everybody else is ready.
Yeah, guys. So when we're talking about homesteading, that's what I mean by be fearless. Go on the internet, find a recipe, try to cook the thing, and go for it. Like the worst thing that's going to happen is you ruin your cow's tongue, and you weren't eating it anyway at that point. So, and Dawn did not ruin her cow's tongue.
No.
Okay, just the effing recipe.
Just the effing recipe.
Let's do it, or you?
You go ahead.
Okay. And now it's time for just the effing recipe. You take an onion and dice it, and you take your cow's tongue, trim off any weird looking fat, and then do a spice rub with some powdered garlic, pepper, salt, chili peppers, smoked paprika, cumin, any other spice you think might be a Mexican style spice. You could even use a taco packet. And then you saute up onions in some fat and you sear off the tongue, throw it into a pot that's just big enough for the tongue to fit in, cover it in bone broth. If you do not have bone broth, you can use water. Simmer that for 4 to 6 hours. There's an alternative here. If you have an Instapot, you can just pressure cook it for 90 minutes. Once that has finished, you take it out of the pot, peel the skin off the tongue and shred it, and then serve it with your taco dinner any way you like. If you want to add an advanced skill, saute up some more onions, and when you reheat that tongue, saute it with those onions and fat of any kind, and it will change the mouthfeel just a little bit. That's just the effing recipe.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hogs wants to know if I'm making tacos too. I am making tacos tonight. The other way I make this recipe is with, instead of the taco seasoning, I use a lot of dill and garlic. And same thing, I simmer it up in a pot with, like, I'll take a whole dried dill head and put it in there with water instead of bone broth, simmer it for 4 to 6 hours. And then I take it out, skin it, brown it off, and cut it into medallions instead of shredding it. So you cut like the tongue out this way, 90 degrees to how your tongue sticks out. And then it makes sort of a broth in the pot when you braise it like that. And you can turn that into a gravy by, making a roux with flour and some fat. And then you use that water from the tongue to make the gravy. And that is delicious. And that's delicious served over potatoes. And that was sort of the German Polish way I was talking about. So it's almost the same method, just different spices. Yeah.
Nice.
So guys, thanks for joining the live stream. If you think this was useful, share it out to friends. We're really glad you were here. And we'll see you next time for Homegrown Cooking.
See y'all.